Welcome to the sixth video of this series on advocacy planning training. This video will focus on risk analysis and management, monitoring and evaluation. Reflect in advance on possible risks. Anyone who tries to create change may well experience some form of opposition. This can vary from one grumpy person rolling their eyes at you to a group of people or organizations speaking up against the change you are calling for. It can even express itself in physical violence. As you know by now, this can have a huge implication for our work and for the safety and security of our people, our organizations, and our networks. Sometimes we can advocate for a cause with the best intentions but end up harming the cause of fellow organizations. So be mindful of the implication your work may have. Consider the consequences of the opposition in relation to safety and security. It's important to reflect on the risks that may come with the activities that you've envisioned. This reflection is important as it allows you to think about and consider the consequences of opposition and the safety and security risk of people or organizations involved in this work. When you are aware of these risks, there may be ways to manage these risks by limiting the chances of a risk occurring or by decreasing the impact of the risk. In this slide is a table that you could use for this analysis and management. Feel free to do it differently or adopt it and delete or add columns. Outcomes of your advocacy, both intended and unintended, need to be documented, evaluated, and shared continually internally within your group and with your funders and community members and other relevant stakeholders. Make sure to appoint people for monitoring the results achieved and lessons learned. In this way, you can steer and adopt some of your activities or outcomes where necessary to ensure that you have the most impact. We therefore recommend that you monitor your advocacy outcomes throughout your project and for up to 3 years after your advocacy project to evaluate how it contributed to your goals, ambitions, and desired impact. While monitoring takes place throughout the cycle of the project, evaluation is an examination concerning the relevancy, effectiveness, efficiency, and impact of the activities in light of the specific objectives, which is reflective and takes place after the project is completed. There are 5 criteria to take into consideration in relation to monitoring and evaluation. These are relevance, effectiveness, efficiency, impact, and sustainability. One can use these 5 criteria as the tools that help with the approach to take when designing projects in the future. On the nexus, you can see the criteria and definition as well as sample questions that can be asked in relation to those criteria. Relevance. The extent to which the objective of a development interventions are consistent with the beneficiaries' requirements, country needs, global priorities, and partner and donor policies. Sample questions here may include: was the project the right project given the situation? Does the project address the real problems and the root causes? Does it resonate with the target group? Was it consistent with the existing donor or government policies? Effectiveness. The extent to which the development interventions objectives were achieved or are expected to be achieved, taking their relative importance into action. Sample questions here may include: to what extent were outputs and outcomes achieved? Was the intervention logical, well-designed, and feasible? Efficiency. A measure of how economically resources, inputs, funds, expertise, time, amongst others, are converted into results. Sample questions here may include: were resources used in the best possible ways? What can or could be done differently to improve the implementation at an acceptable or low cost? Impact. Positive and negative, primary and secondary long-term effects produced by a development intervention, directly or indirectly, intended or unintended. Here, sample questions may include: to what extent has the project contributed towards the overall long-term objectives? What unexpected positive and negative consequences did the project produce? And the reasons for that. Sustainability. The continuation of benefits from a development intervention after major development assistance has been completed. Sample questions here may include: to what extent one can expect the change to exist in the future without external inputs. And this brings us to the end of this advocacy planning training video series. We hope you found some inspiring ideas and new information to apply to your advocacy plans. And good luck with your future advocacy.